Welcome back. Now let's take a look at another scenario, which we've called preparing for Thanksgiving. Leah is going to play Fran. And Fran is aware that at Thanksgiving she's going to be in conversation with her sister Greta. And a certain issue around Fran's health is going to come up, she's pretty sure, because it has done before. And so what Fran's decided to do is something which I heartily recommend, which is rather than waiting for a difficult conversation to start, you can actually prepare in a certain way by first of all getting in touch with how are you feeling about what the subject matter and what are you really wanting to have happen in the conversation, just to try and get clear on that. So I'd like to see what Fran has to say about this. So, Fran.
So yes, I'm imagining that I'm expecting that when I go home, the issue of my health is going to come up. I have an ongoing health concern, and I'm taking care of it in a way that works for me, but my sister really thinks I should be getting a different kind of care. And
so you're content with the way that you're dealing with your health?
Yes. Even though I'm not better yet, I believe that I'm doing what's best for it.
I'm guessing that you have given a lot of attention, a lot of thought to this. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Right.
Getting a lot of different kinds of support for it.
And so as you think about this conversation that you're going to be having with Greta, your sister, what's the truth of your current feeling about that?
I guess I'm afraid that I'm just going to sort of cave in because she kind of has science on her side. She comes from the more scientific viewpoint about healthcare.
So you're afraid and you have this image of caving in. And rather than caving in, how would you like it to go? What would be the thing that you would like to see happening then?
I'd really like to be able to hear whatever she has to say without taking it really personally. Just hearing that that's her concern for me, and it doesn't mean I have to believe what she believes. So
you would love to be able to listen to her and to hear what it is that she has to say, and to stay in a place of being connected to what's important for you at the same time, and holding your needs and your values as equally important to her, something like that. Is that true?
Yes, and yes, to be able to hear that she cares about me. That's why she says what she says. So
something about you'd love to be able to hear the caring underneath her words. Yeah. Regardless of how she's speaking and what she's saying.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm asking these questions here rather than just guessing at what's going on for Fran, because sometimes you'll be on your own, perhaps, preparing for a conversation like this. So I'm just giving these questions to Fran, and they're questions that you can use for yourself if you're preparing for the holidays or some other time when you're expecting a tricky conversation. How am I feeling when I think about this conversation that's going to happen? And what would I love to have happen? Very often we come up most quickly with what we're afraid is going to happen. So just flip that on its head and you'll see what it is that you would like. It's the opposite of what you wouldn't like. So let's see what else is coming up for you. Any other feelings for you when you think about this conversation that you're in touch with?
I guess the concern that I'm going to try and prove that I'm right, which will not work. So I know that that's not going to work.
A feeling of concern, and again, what you're not wanting is this thing you're going to try and prove yourself right. Yeah. So what would be a different way that would look, that would be more to your liking, something you're longing for?
I guess something like really holding that different viewpoints can exist together. We don't have to agree.
Right, it's like almost an image I'm getting of that there's a certain spaciousness or something in how you can hear the viewpoint and you make space for that, and maybe you'll try and express yours, but you don't have to get agreement? Am I painting the picture in the way that you're thinking of it?
And that's something about really wanting to have enough trust in myself that I don't need to be defensive.
Just to be really in touch with the trust, the self-confidence, the self-trust in the choices that you're making. So how does it feel in this moment just to be connecting with those underlying motivations and values of yours?
That's great. That's a really big one for me, the self-trust. Really, it feels like an important thing to bring with me when I go home to my family.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to suggest another part of this preparation that you can do here. And I only want you to try this if you feel willing. If you don't, let's talk about that. But my question is, if you think about switching your attention now to what might be going on with your sister Greta when she talks to you about your health, do you feel willingness to give that some consideration?
Yes.
It's very important not to force this if it's not something that you feel ready to do, but my sense is that it really helps when you actually get into the conversation with the other person if you've tried to think this out in advance. What might be happening with them? So what's your guess?
My guess is that she's really worried about me. And she really wants me to be well. And that, I mean, that's I think the biggest part. There's also something for her about having scientific knowledge and training and wanting to be able to contribute that to me.
Okay, so two pieces there. You're guessing real concern that she's feeling and just really wanting well-being and health. You know, those are values of hers, and she particularly wants that for you in this situation. And also something about wanting to be able to contribute to that. Yeah. And you said she has a lot of scientific background or something. So is there some piece in saying that maybe that she wants to be seen for her expertise or something of that sort? It's that she is an expert in that field, and I guess I have some judgment actually that she expects to be treated that way or expects to be received that way. Yeah. So as the judgment comes in here, all that signals for me is it's time to go back to Fran, so that Fran can connect with that. So as this judgment comes up, what's going on there for you? What's the feeling which comes up when you think about her expressing her expertise? I guess it brings up some other family dynamics about her having this medical or scientific training and me not having that, and somehow that creates a dynamic of her being superior or something like that within the family. And what's the feeling for you? And so the feeling, well, I guess it's almost like it's a defensiveness, like some sort of contraction. Yeah, there's a contraction. There's definitely a contraction inside. Like I don't want to hear it. Right. Almost an aversion or something like that. Aversion. And so rather than that, again, what would you love to have happen in the scenario? Something different than what you're describing. I guess I'd really like to be able to look at her with love for that, like love her for that part of her. Okay. Really, because I do love her and care about her, and just to be in touch with the love that you feel for your sister. Yeah. And to feel that love and be in touch with that love, regardless of what she's expressing, even if she's expressing this area of expertise which can be triggering for you. Okay. So how now at this moment is this for you to have sort of done this little bit of work on yourself and then looped over to her and back to yourself again? Like, I'm actually feeling excited. I want to get into it. You're feeling excited? I'm ready to go. Okay. Yeah. Well, it may be, we're going to get into it in a moment with Greta. We'll bring Carol on stage to play Greta. And possibly what we saw in the first scenario today may be relevant again here. There may be some interrupting that has to happen, so we'll see whether or not there's a repetition of that skill and see where we go after that. We're now going to show, we're going to take a break right now, excuse me, and we'll be back with the meeting of Fran and Greta in just a moment.
I am